crash course.
You're slithering.
Watch out! Watch out! Watch out! Watch out!
That's disgusting.
So today on Crash Course, we are going to talk about the federal bureaucracy, try to explain what it is, why we even have it, why nobody has gone about completely and utterly destroying it. So there are three main groups under the umbrella term that is bureaucracy. There are agencies, departments, and independent regulatory commissions. So we'll start with agencies. What are they? What do they do? Do they really do anything at all? Who knows? Well, the legal dictionary on freedictionary.com defines agencies as being things that are created by the federal Constitution, the U.S. Congress, state legislatures, and local lawmaking bodies to manage crises, redress serious social problems, or oversee complex matters of governmental concern beyond the expertise of legislatures. So basically, they do all the work on things that affect our daily lives. It would be more effective if experts working on them instead of Congress, because we all know Congress is not the greatest experts on the emissions that should be produced from my hybrid car. Departments are overreaching agencies, basically, that often work on the more complex and general tasks of the government. Some examples are the State Department, the Department of Treasury, and the Department of Defense. Now, generally, these are the ones we hear more about in the news, like Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, for example, talking to China, or the Treasury Department talking to the Fed about different things that we need to do with our monetary policy, and with the Defense Department with military spending, attacking and destroying ISIS, the greatest stuff on earth. Independent agencies of the United States federal government are those agencies that exist outside of federal executive departments, those headed by a cabinet secretary like the Department of Defense, and the executive office of the president. In a more tight sense, the term may also be used to describe any agency that, while constitutionally part of the executive branch, is independent of presidential control, usually because the president's power to dismiss the agency head or a member is limited, but not my power to dismiss this. C4.
Wow!
In today's Thought Bubble, we'll be talking about the different functions of the federal bureaucracy: implementation, administration, and regulation. Implementation is a bureaucratic function to enforce laws and policies created by Congress and executive orders from the president. Hey Donald. Implementation can be carried out by creating new agencies to take on a policy, or by morphing a policy into guidelines to make that policy easier to enforce. However, legislation is sometimes written very broadly, and that can be hard to implement, so bureaucrats have to use administrative discretion, which is our first term. Administrative discretion is the authority of administrative actors to select among various responses to a given problem. Discretion is greatest when routines or standard operating procedures do not fit a case. The next function is administration, which is routine administrative work, or providing the basic bureaucratic services. These routines are in place to make sure that all of the bureaucratic services are delivered regularly. For example, the United States Social Security Administration, an independent agency in the bureaucracy, sends Social Security checks to all of their beneficiaries. Just another example of administration in the bureaucracy. The final function of the bureaucracy is regulation, or rules and regulations set to positively impact the public. An example of this is the FDA. They regulate meat, poultry, and egg products to make sure that they're safe for human consumption. Another example is how the EPA sets clean air standards to make sure that air is safe for the public. Well, that's all for this Thought Bubble, but stay tuned because we have the mystery document up next.
And now for the mystery document. Competitive examinations for testing the fitness of applicants for the public service now classified or to be classified hereunder. Such examinations shall be practical in their character, and so far as may be shall relate to those matters which will fairly test the relative capacity and fitness of the persons examined. This document is part of the Pendleton Civil Service Reform Act. Passed in 1883, the Act created a merit-based system for selecting government officials. Before the Pendleton Act was passed, only 10% of the government was well-educated and well-trained. Now, 90% of the 2.7 million federal employees are fit for the job. Swoosh.
I've been ballin' so damn hard, I swear I think that I'm Kobe. Young bull on this rap bitch, but I think that I'm Kobe. I swear I'm dunking on these horses, on these men, I'm free throwing. These ones, they don't